Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various wins for the Christmas Market Tournament here in Golf Clash, the game. We're gonna play a mix of the City Park and the Greenberg Slopes for this lovely Christmas tournament here in Golf Clash. Before we take a closer look at everything, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button, also subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. For those of you that are looking to spend more time with your family, instead of sitting there in practice mode, then you scan the QR code here on the screen or use the link in the description down below called patreon.com/golfclashtommy and sign up for our ultimate tournament guides. For the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also a ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Check out the info box on the right hand side to follow along in this playthrough. Now let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, this is going to be, if not the best, but one of the best chances of getting a drop here off the Greenberg slope. So we're going to start very close to the max line, a plus 12, and then we're going to apply some spins. You see here now we're using the top spin. That's going to be a 4.5 bar of top spin and 2 bars of side spin to the right. Ball guideline to go center down the fairway, very important. Here, even if you do have 6 bars of topspin, they could actually be worse of using more topspin than 4.5. This, as there is a risk of going too far, then you're gonna be in between clubs on the second shot. So try to keep it to 4.5 bar topspin. That would be the best. I'm playing with a power 3 ball to prevent us from having to go with overpowering crosswind and, you know, to a degree in headwind. Max plus 10 is the adjustment, and you can see that we're getting the ball down nicely on the fairway, and now it's time to focus on the second shot, which is going to be a very good chance. The thorn to play with here, and the reason I want to play with a thorn is that I do want to use the thorn's backspin. I do want to aim on the fringe and have the ball guideline to the hole, or fairway, or green, or fringe. And have the ball guideline to the hole. The reason I don't want to bounce on the fairway before the fringe and the green is due to the fact that that will cause glitches and inconsistencies in the way you are approaching the pin. Adjustment is going to be made. I pull over the bullseye to be as consistent as possible. We play minus 10% elevation, and then it's obviously true distance as normal. Perfect ball, bounces nicely on the green and it rolls beautifully right at pin for an eagle here on hole number 1. Hole number 4, and here you will see a rough bump as well. I like the rough bump here in headwind due to as it's very easy to find minimum distance line with a P5 ball, and that will obviously be super helpful when we're going for a rough bump. So what I'm doing here is that I'm setting a spin that is top spin, and I'm not looking at the ball guideline at all. I'm just looking at the yellow range position to be by the rough line in complete minimum distance with a power 5 ball, and that's why you saw me starting with a berserker. After that, I do change to a centurion. I do like to play with either a wind 3 or a wind 4, but you can switch to literally whatever ball you would like, because the only thing that it's going to happen is that you're going to adjust yourself away from min club. Minimum distance plus 10, but obviously the adjustment it in itself will be different depending on if you play this rough bump in angle tailwinds, crosswind, tailwind and stuff like that. If you're not interested to go for the rough bump, which I believe is the best way to go for a hole-in-one consistently, at least in headwind, but then you can bounce on the fairway further back down, and that's not a bad route, but it's, in my opinion, more angle dependent. And I also think that especially now with the new putting and going for a bounce up shot like that where you risk not going all the way up, you know, that might not be the best way to go. Hole number 9 has always been, it's not a weird par 5, but it's a tough par 5 in the sense of that we need to get the ball over to the right if even have a good and a decent chance to get a drop from distance. So what I'm doing here, I'm using a power 4 ball in headwind, and the reason I'm doing so is because I do want to minimize the amount of overpower that I'm using. If you have a crosswind, a minor headwind, or just a tailwind, then we can play with power 3 ball instead, which, I mean, it's just enough. We roll down like this, and that's what we're looking for, trying to get consistently to around 340 to 350 yards. On the second shot, we're using a sniper, this for its accuracy and also for its good ball guideline. Using backspin, and in headwind we need to let the ball guideline go through the hole. The adjustment here will differ depending on what wind angle we have. Obviously with a headwind we have a compressed ball guideline, therefore we usually need more adjustment than what's listed, and also the reason why I'm missing on the left side. Using a little bit of overpower to compensate, I would personally rather compensate with less spins. But in the end, this is a way to attack. You can go for a rough bump close to green as well, kind of require a power 5 ball, but the bounce over with the sniper has usually been very consistent overall. So for hole number 4, it's very similar to hole number 1 in the way of that we do need to get ourselves an eagle, or we will most likely struggle having a top spot in the tournament. Obviously, a birdie is going to happen no matter what way you're playing here, because it's a short par 4 and with a good chance. 6 top spin and as much side spin to the right possible. Ball guideline to go just right off the left side rough. Adjustment is max +5, and you can see here in the end that I'm pushing up approximately 1 ring just to gain those extra couple of yards, because we do want this ball to trickle down the fairway and avoid the rough. Inside wall, a right curl, and you can see the ball bounces on the fairway and it rolls down, and sure, a great left would most likely be in the rough, but that's the risk, that's a risk we're gonna have to take, because if you do roll into the rough, you will still be able to reach from there. But having not to roll into the rough, you will position yourself for a short iron towards the pin, and in this scenario we do more or less having a straight tailwind. And I would say that even if you adjust the wrong amount here, this is still going to be a good chance due to the wind being in your favor. Sure, you need to be more spot on when it comes to a straight crosswind, but in this instance, ball guideline just short of hole, no elevation, and you play true club distance. So if you are around medium distance, you play medium distance. If you are by the medium distance or minimum distance club, then you play minimum distance number. It sounds easy, but it actually is that easy, especially on a shot like this. Perfect ball, and it's gonna bounce on the fairway before the green, and it rolls right at pin for a beautiful eagle on hole number 4.
Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guides for the Christmas market tournament. This is a perfect chance for you to spend more time with your family and friends during Christmas, and let our guides help you to the weekend round and help you to a good position whilst you are spending less time in practice. We do offer for expert and master the vision. For those of you that you want to dabble in tour play and checkpoint challenge, do a premium guide for that as well. Scan the QR code here on the screen or use the link in the description down below called patreon.com/golfclashtommy and get yourself to our page and sign up for the package that suits you the best.
I've always disliked having left to right wind on this one here. And the reason for that is due to the fact that adjusting here would be very difficult due to the fact that we do have the trees in our way. I'm using 3 bars of right spin and whatever backspin that makes the ball guideline go approximately 2 green squares through the hole. And as to not complicate with the trees, I'm going to push my rings. Medium distance +20, and I'm using a kingmaker. Why? The reason I want to use a kingmaker is to reduce the wind as much as possible, and I want to keep it free to play. Obviously playing with a more wind resistant ball such as wind 4 or a wind 5 obviously will make it even easier, but keeping it free to play, center the ball with a kingmaker, hit perfect, and this is gonna have a good chance going in the hole. As I've said on this hole many times, is that this rough bump is definitely the best chance for you to get an hole in one. in a more consistent way. But if you are not really interested in going a bit more aggressive, which the rough bump is, then play on the fairway on the right, bounce the ball up towards the pin. However, though, it won't be as good as the rough bump in terms of getting the hole in one, but it will always result into a safe birdie. Hole number 6 is a pretty boring par 5, to be honest. Sure, there is a way of dropping this one, but it's going to be very difficult, especially if we're having this type of wind. What we're looking for here now is that we're looking to bounce on the left side there using as much, not as much topspin that we can. The topspin is going to vary all from 6 to max depending on what wind angle you have. If it's a direct headwind, it's going to be max. If it is a crosswind, slightly less, and obviously if it's a tailwind, a bit less than that. For those that do want to go for power shots such as a power slice, then you can do so if you do have a tailwind, and there is a chance of being close to green or on the green or something like that, and that could obviously take away a lot of difficultness along the way to get an albatross. Because I believe if we can send it, the send it is definitely the way to go, because it will allow us to, not really, I mean, this is a tough one. You can see here now we're close to max club with our cataclysm, and we are at max club, has to be said, with a power 4 ball as well, this is going to be a very difficult one. And here, the reason I want to show this type of video is that with the new putter that we're having here now, getting a putt like this that we're having here is not going to be easy. So in that way, it could almost be better that we lay up before the bunker and have a wedge towards the pin than just going for a Hail Mary going up towards the green. Obviously, if we have an attack towards the pin, then fine. But now I even had to offset, and it was basically just playing to green to get the eagle. But now we need to think a step further, because getting up there for that putt, that's not going to be easy at all. Very difficult par 5 to get an albatross on. Let's hope for tailwind, otherwise this is going to be fairly boring. Alright, hole number 7. This is, in my opinion, going to be the best chance for an hole in one in a more consistent way, because this is a nice little double bounce over here towards the pin. Start before spin, ball guideline to the hole, and you will then adapt spins based on the wind angle. I'm using a little bit of click of top spin, no side spin. Adjustment is going to be medium distance plus 15. And I'm only using a navigator here for the reason of, otherwise I will go in between clubs. So having to start back here, and you do have tailwind, you need to play with a power 1 ball at maximum. Otherwise you will go in between clubs, and that obviously will complicate things. And that's why the navigator is good, especially from second tee, because it allows us to be in the wind range of not going in between clubs. Bounce on the fairway, over to the next one, over to the green, and it rolls lovely right at the hole for a beautiful hole in one here on hole number 7. If the opportunity presents itself with a tailwind here, we're gonna send it, because this is not an easy par 4 if we cannot send it, because then we're gonna have to lay up and we're gonna have to deal with a lot of glitches that is around the green. So here I'm aiming for the left side of the fairway, meaning left side of the centered bunker and those rocks there, using top spin and using right spin. Adjust, push up. And here I'm pushing up to max. There will be times, obviously, if you do have a higher wind, that you don't have to push up to max, which then makes for a much easier needle to handle. Max plus 10 is the adjustment, and you can see here now we're rolling through the rocks there on the right and on the left and getting ourselves to a wedge on the second shot. And honestly, the second shot cannot really be much easier than this, where we do have a straight tailwind. We are also then having wedge, which is the easiest club to hit perfect with. Here you can either go for a standard EB school by using no spin, or you can use a hybrid version of it like I'm doing here, or you can use max top spin and back up a little bit more. The important part, and the reason why I'm actually playing like a hybrid version, is due to the fact that there is a lot of glitches on that green, and I just want to ensure that I'm not going to find myself in a glitchy spot and have a dead bounce and then not going to have a shot for the pin. 20% elevation, EB school, and you see we bounce on the green, rolling up towards the pin, getting it to drop on the right hand side for a lovely eagle here in hole number 7. So tailwind, send it, crosswind, headwind, we need to lay up, and then it's going to be a sniper towards the pin, or a guardian for that matter with a lot of backspin, but that's going to be a difficult one to drop. Hole number 2. This is a fun hole in my opinion, especially in tailwinds, and we're going to talk about what we can do in the stronger tailwinds, but here when playing in the playthrough, we're playing with free-to-play balls, therefore we are settling with the Titan. So I'm using all the left spin that I can, which is 2 bars, and I'm also using 2 bars of top spin, max plus 10, and once we have done that, we shall push up to a max. Using half a ball of curl together with a little bit of overpower, it's approximately 2 rings of overpower being used here. The goal is not to get as far up on the fairway. We actually want to position ourselves in a way that we can play with the sniper. This, as playing with a long iron, is very much dependent on a good ball guideline. And sure, we could play with a grizzly, but the grizzly doesn't really have that much power, which means that we're gonna aim very far back most of the time. So in this situation, I would like to play with the sniper over the Goliath. And sure, those of you play with B52 level 7 might could rethink what I just said, as the B52 does have the same power as the Goliath. Add backspin, ball guideline, approximately 2 green squares short of hole in tailwind, ball guideline to the hole in crosswind, and in headwind 2 green squares through the hole, just to compensate for the extended and the compressed ball guidelines that come in tailwind and in headwind. 20% elevation is going to be all from minimum to medium to maximum distance, depending on how far you're getting your drive. And here we can see hitting a perfect ball, and it bounces on the fairway. When the camera turns around like this, I think we're gonna drop it, get in, but no, the game is giving us a little 360, which is not fun, but it happens from time to time. So hole number 2 is going to be a tough one to get an albatross on, but there is definitely a possibility.
Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division for the Christmas Market Tournament here in Golf Clash the game. Celebrate Christmas with your family instead of sitting there practicing in practice mode. Get our guides and make that happen. We do provide ultimate tournament guides for Expert Division, so for those of you that are playing Expert, then make sure to sign up. Scan the QR code here on the screen or use the link in the description down below called patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Find your package and sign up today. In the end, I want to wish you the best of luck in the Christmas Market Tournament.